And a good afternoon to all the happy listeners of Marlow FM. It's Thursday, the 8th of November. It's 2:02. My name's Mark Harris.
And mine's Mike Duckett. Good afternoon.
And we're here to present BizBuzz to you. We have a guest coming in as usual in about a half an hour. We are expecting Mike Clare, who is he's perhaps best known as having been the former owner of Dreams, the bed company. He's now executive chairman of Klarenko. But the theme for our program today is about getting out, about selling a business, about moving on to other things. Do you remember, Mike, maybe a month or so ago we had Leo Sykes in insolvency practitioner?
Yes, although he wasn't sure about the term insolvency practitioner. That was too negative. But
far more interested in rescue than insolvency. Absolutely.
Turnaround.
Yeah. I just wanted to hark back to that because I do like a bit of harking every now and again. And I saw a report by an organisation, there's just so many organisations out there that we've never heard of, called R3. And they are the trade body for insolvency experts, so I'm sure Leo would be familiar with them. And one of the things we talked about was how insolvencies are down, which is a bit weird in a recession, but there's this thing called zombie companies. Zombie companies are companies that should be dead, but they're not.
That's the term. I just like the term.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's not nice if you are a zombie company, so we do have sympathy with such people, but the term is nice. And the statistics that they come up with here is that in the last quarter, there's been a drop of 25% in insolvencies, down to 3,971 insolvencies in a quarter, which sort of sounds like quite a lot. But they've also done some research that shows the number of zombie companies that they believe to be out there is 146,000.
So what they're saying, the drop in the statistics for insolvency, to some extent, is accounted for by the fact that there are companies wandering around there that, although dead, won't lie down.
Absolutely, yeah. But I was just so surprised at how high that number is. Because if you average it, if you say sort of roughly 4,000 a quarter, even if it's only 120,000, that's, using my quick mental arithmetic, is about 30 quarters worth of insolvencies. There's a lot of technically borderline insolvent companies out there.
Do they suggest what might happen in the future? Is it like a bubble that eventually you think is going to burst? What will happen in the future? They're saying that all of a sudden we will have all these zombie companies will lie down.
I think that's the question that they should be asking. And in the report that I'm reading, or that I've read, it doesn't say, but it does sort of make you wonder. So what happens? I mean, obviously we're just talking UK here. So what happens if you suddenly get 146,000 businesses go bust? That's at least 146,000 extra people on the dole looking for work. Vaguely worrying. But of course, the other possibility is that as we are now technically out of recession, hooray! I hope it all feels good for you guys.
Are we still?
Yeah, we're still out. We haven't gone back in yet, as far as I know. Not that they've told us, anyway. But as we come out of recession, people start to spend more, business picks up, then those zombie companies will hopefully also start to pick up. And that's what those guys are hanging on for. It's in the hope and expectation that when things get better, generally things will get better for them.
Oh,
so, there we go.
Over to me. As you know, I look for bits and pieces of research, what are called. They're either going to make Mark giggle or groan. I don't know about this one.
Sometimes both.
I only thought of it in relation to business when I was thinking about some lunches that my team, when we used to go down to the canteen when I worked in a big corporate. And I know that there's been some research on the effect that tastes of food can have on things like your moral judgment or your social behaviour. Right, so
okay, I'm already sceptical, but keep going.
Well, this isn't even the research I'm going to talk about. This is stuff we know from the past, that if you give people sweet foods, they lead to more pro-social behaviour. If you give people disgusting tasting food or a disgusting taste, and then ask them to make moral judgments afterwards, it harshens their moral judgment, so they become more moralistic. Okay, so that bitter taste in your mouth leads you to be more moralistic. Now, these guys have actually had a look at, is that not only taste, but what about types of food?
Okay.
And they've looked at organic, just looking at organic food, comfort food, or an ordinary food that, as they used as a control, that you would neither regard as organic or comfort. So you know what comfort food is?
Yeah. I eat it all the time.
There we go. So just looking at these three different types of food and then putting people into these tests where their moral judgments are, that their moralistic behaviour is tested, it seems that organic food, what does it say? People who looked at organic food volunteered significantly less time to help a needy stranger, and they judged moral transgressions significantly harsher than those who viewed non-organic food. So when you go to the canteen, be careful what you look at.
You keep saying, look, you don't even have to eat it.
Don't have to eat it. All you have to do is wander around looking at organic food. That's going to make you harsher in your moral judgment.
Okay, so it's generally accepted that things like decor, should you have your walls pale blue or pale green or whatever, because it influences how people behave. So are you suggesting that businesses with their own catering lunchtime establishments should be designing the menu around what is going to influence the behaviour of their staff?
I don't think they're clever enough yet. I don't think we know enough about the types of... I do know, we do know that certainly if you eat, when we had Kevin Dobson here, remember, if you eat certain types of foods at lunchtime, it's going to affect your energy levels. So the worst thing you could do is have a big stodgy carbohydrate meal before you go into a sort of 3 o'clock board meeting where you've got to be on best form.
Yeah.
But as to the psychological effect of different tastes, I don't think it's sophisticated enough yet to dictate what you should have on the menu. And I was just thinking, if you're going for your appraisal, best thing you can do, just in case your boss has been looking at organic food before he sits down your appraisal, best thing you can do is bring in some photographs surreptitiously of comfort food.
He'll think you're mad.
Chocolate cake. I've just brought this chocolate cake with me.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm really not 100% convinced.
I didn't think you would be.
No. What I do know, though, is because there are circumstances where, as a business, do you actually want to be warm and cuddly, or actually is a bit of, I don't know, maybe aggression is too strong a word, but a bit of a go for it, actually, particularly when you talk about boiler house sales environments and when you've got to really, do some get up and go. Do you want to be all warm and cuddly and
This isn't
nice?
It isn't really looking at warm and cuddly or aggressive. It's looking at moralistic judgments, so harsh moral judgments.
Okay, so actually, I'd like to reduce my price to you because I'm just, morally, I can't charge you what I'm charging you. It's way too much.
Or it'd be a judgment I might make about you stealing that paperclip.
Yes.
If I look at cake, I think, oh, that's okay. It's only a paperclip. If I've been looking at organic apples, I might think, oh, I don't care. It's stealing.
And I sort of, I sort of get that, because if you're feeling warm and cuddly, then that's going to emanate through the rest of your behaviour for the day.
Don't shoot me. I'm only reading the research.
Yeah.
Don't change anything you do on the basis of what I've just said, Mark.
Okay, I promise not to. In a few minutes,